Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic from Manheim, Pennsylvania, from the Spooky Nook Sports Complex. It is the largest indoor archery tournament on the East Coast, and we are ready for our shoot-up finals with a host of classes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Chris Schaff, our latest 2023 NEAM winner, and we'll be talking about his resume. So we've been here a couple days, Chris, and how have things been here at a record-setting attendance for the Lancaster Archery Classic?
Yeah, it's been an awesome shoot so far this weekend. Everything's ran super smooth, like any good tournament should be. And this weekend has actually panned out in the plus for me.
Over the next 2 days, we're going to have tons of shoot-up finals for you. Let's take a look at the schedule for today and what's coming up, because Chris is going to be joining us for a couple of these events. So first up on the docket is going to be Senior Open. Then we'll transition to Women's Open, to Masters Open, Women's Masters Open. Then we're going to have 3 youth classes. You're going to see the 11 to 17 classes, and then we're going to transition back into our very popular Women's Barebow, and then we'll wrap things up today with our Barebow final shoot-up. Now, the majority of the shoot-ups you see are going to be 4 people participating. We're going to go into more detail about how that goes. But Chris, here you are, center stage. It's 1 versus 1, and the tension's really high, isn't it?
It is. You got to go back to your basics and everything when the nerves do get to you.
Yeah. Let's take a look at how we got here. So these are the rules. The top 4 qualify for this Senior Open that we have coming up. Rank tied broken by 11s, and it's a bottom-up format. So basically what that means is we're going to have the 4th place qualifier, who got to 4th place by shooting eliminations earlier today, is going to shoot against number 3. Whoever wins that match will shoot against the number 2 qualifier, and whoever wins that match will get to go up against the number 1 qualifier. So it is going to be exciting. So Chris, the thing is, if you're that 4th place qualifier and you're able to work your way all the way up, you have a lot more arrows than everybody else, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. You get to shoot, 4 matches if you're number 4.
Yeah, so that's a lot of arrow count, and there's advantages and disadvantages to that, which we'll talk about. But we have one more thing we want to show you, and that is how this match gets scored. So what's different from the way it is in qualification is we do have a 12 ring. It's a 1.5 centimeter white dot that's nestled in the middle of the target. We'll show you that. Max points are 136, and in order to get that 12 ring, you've got to call it, and we'll show you that. And you can call only 1 per end. So that's the 12 ring. Boy, it's kind of a... it's different. It allows you to take a risk if you're a little bit behind.
For sure. You can shoot a 9 out there and still catch up.
All right, so now it's time to get our first match underway. So let's introduce you to PJ Riley, who will introduce the archers to the field of play. Hey, PJ.
Thank you, Greg. All right, folks, let's get things started here for the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic Finals. Thank you all for being here. We're going to start things off with Senior Open, and so we're going to bring out our 4th seed, our number 4 seed, Kevin McKim from Holbrook, New York. Kevin qualified 11th and has 40 years of experience shooting here. Not here, but shooting. Our number 3 qualifier is Glenn Talley from Media, Pennsylvania. Glenn should be a familiar face because he is our 2019 LAS champion, so he's up here on one of these banners. Welcome back to the stage, Glenn.
All right, so on the left we have lane number 1. On the right we have lane number 2, Chris. And what's being determined right now is who gets to shoot first. How's that decided?
It'll be the highest qualifier.
So the number 3 qualifier in this case, Glenn Talley, got to choose if he's going to shoot first or second. Now you can see the archer standing on a platform under lights. It's 20 yards down to a 40 centimeter target face, a 3 spot. So we're going to get our first arrow of competition underway in this Senior Open 60+ category. Good start.
Yeah, looks like it did just hang that 11 line possibly.
Kevin McKim. Goes a little bit wide. Now there's a practice area that's set up not too far where we are, but they can't simulate 100% the lighting situation here.
That one's a good one there. And they do get 30 seconds to shoot this one arrow. It's alternating back and forth.
Just left of that, the smaller circle is the highest value, and that small circle is worth 11. Chris, how do you actually get an 11? Did you have to get it inside out or what?
You just have to touch that line. You don't have to break it or anything like that. The arrow just has to barely touch it.
Upper left-hand part of your screen is going to be the tally, unofficial tally as we see it. So Glenn Talley in at 31 points out of 33. No one's called for that 12 yet.
No, not yet. Usually the first end, you know, you're pretty amped up on nerves. So it'll probably be, you know, second and third end. Once you get calmed down just a little bit, you should probably see some
Kevin,
12 buttons.
welcome to the LAS Classic stage. How's it feel up there?
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
I don't believe it.
Oh, I am.
Well, we want you to settle down, have a good time. Tell us about your equipment.
Okay, I got a Matthews TRX 8 with shoot stabilizers, Excel sight, and a ultra view scope.
So 40 years experience, I saw. Competition that whole time, primarily a bow hunter. What's your archery?
Bow hunter and competition. I gave it up for quite a few years, and then I came back. I just started coming back.
Well, we are certainly glad that you did.
All
Thanks for
right.
being here.
Thank you.
Don't forget, we got that red button out front. Step on that for 12 points.
Well, you can see that white dot down there, that's at the 7-8 ring right there. That's the risk that you have to take. And, you know, we're looking at a class right here, Chris Schaff, 60-plus category. It also shows you that you can shoot well into the latter stages of life. You're 30 years old, and how long have you been shooting so far?
I've been shooting for like 20, 21 years.
Amazing.
So,
and
I
you're looking at
started
these
young.
guys 60-plus. Can you see yourself up on stage?
No.
Great shot by Talley.
It's a better start than the last end.
Definitely. You know, when you look at this archer right here, Glenn Talley, 4 times IBO world champion, as PJ mentioned at the top of the show, 2019 Lancaster Archery Classic champion. But really, Chris, you've been on this stage, and you have to perform on this stage tomorrow as the #2 qualifier in the Open Pro category. How nervous are you when you step up to the stage like this? And does being up here 10 times even help?
Yeah, I think, you know, the more times you put yourself in that situation, you're going to, you know, react to it better. But there's definitely going to be nerves out of everybody that steps on that platform.
Talley nearly hitting the same hole he hit the first time.
9-10 line.
It's a 9-10 liner. So it looks like Talley was able to hit 11-10-9 for 30 and 10-11-9. Now here at the, we're going to go to talk to Glenn, find out what he's about.
You got to be up there somewhere. Did you find yourself yet?
No, I didn't even look.
Oh, there you are, on the far right there, camo hat. Looked pretty good. You hoping to be up there again?
I'm trying.
Glenn, tell us about your equipment. What are you shooting?
I have a PSE Perform X. I'm shooting Excel sight, true ball release, gold tip arrows, and bee stinger bars.
Gotcha.
And I have a Hamsky Resk.
And that win in 2019, was that also in senior or was that down in masters?
That was in seniors.
Seniors as well. All
Yeah,
right.
1 arrow shoot off.
1 hour shoot off.
Yeah,
How was that for being nervous?
it was nerve wracking.
All right, Glenn, thanks for being back here. We have, at the end of our second end, Glenn Talley leads 61-59.
All right, so our shoot-up finals. Now, Chris, obviously, as tense as it was when you win, you always want to come back for more. All right, so Greg White, Chris Schaff, in the middle part of our first shoot-up final here at the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic. It's the Senior Open 60-plus category, and that 60-plus, of course, denotes age. Now, Chris, when you look at these archers and you look at the technique, I mean, you know, right now there was Kevin McKim, and his major accomplishments are being club champion versus someone who's had this experience like Talley here, who's already won this event. What do you see in terms of like just technique, overall technique, and ability to hold the bow?
I mean, they're both up there for a reason. So, I mean, they both obviously know how to shoot really well under the pressure circumstances that we had earlier today. You know, I see it looks like Kevin is shooting a back tension style release, and Glenn is shooting a finger trigger. You know, so he can kind of command shoot it when it's in the middle. Whereas a back tension, you kind of want to just relax on it and let the pin float.
Opportunity to close the gap here. Oh, didn't quite get it.
I would assume he's going to be hitting that 12 button this next end.
That's what I'm thinking. A good look at what our judges, when they look at the target, scoring target. Now, the larger those two middle rings, that's a 4-centimeter scoring ring. We call that middle one where that little plus is as kind of the baby 10, right? There's a lot of different ways to refer to it. That's one of the things that's, I think, unique about this particular tournament is the fact that when you're in qualifiers and in this finals, that little ring is 11.
Yeah, it is. You know, it'll be 11 all weekend here. But like I said, there is an option for the 12.
Hey, another unique thing is the fact that in between ends that you get to talk to basically the crowd. It's different, completely different. Do you like it when you're up there? Does it help to break the tension? Like, what's your view of being able to give those interviews?
You know, I've only been up on this stage once where they were asking me questions like that. Normally it's just, you know, you're in your own head and you're talking to your coach. There's no crowd interviews. You know, so it'll be something new tomorrow, but as soon as that buzzer blows, you have to get back into your mental game.
2-point lead.
With 3 arrows to go.
11.
Solid shot. And there he goes.
Yeah, he did hit that 12 button.
It's 12 button. You can see the 12 over his shoulder. He's going for it. If he doesn't hit it.
Oh, just above it.
There's the risk.
There is a risk, yep.
Just above it.
But even if you call that 12 ring and you accidentally shoot it high and hit the 11, you still score the 11. So it's where the arrow lies, no matter if you hit that 12 or not.
I think a good risk McKim had to take. Even if he hit that 12, he would have been a point down, but the 8.
Yeah, at this point where you're down going with 3 arrows, you have to hit that 12 button.
Chris mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, 30 seconds for each archer to execute their shot.
11.
That starts once that arrow impacts the target from your competitor. That's when your 30 seconds start.
And that's I mean, great final end for Glenn there.
9.
And, you know, Chris, how important is it to shoot a 33? Because Talley's got to go now shoot against the number 2 qualifier.
Oh, it's, you know, he just built his confidence up right there going into the number 2 qualifier. You know, his nerves probably calmed down a little bit where, you know, the number 2 seed now coming in is going to be all amped up coming in.
So $500 for our 4th place finisher, McKim. Great shoot. Now he gets to add this to his resume. Got the shoot on the final stage for the shoot up here at the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic. So our first match of the 2023 season, done and dusted. So let's go to PJ.
From Shelby, Michigan, who's been shooting for 35 years.
All right, so Carl Wenk.
Carl
Coming on
gets
out.
to pick his spot.
Gary, can you
Bumping
please
Glenn over. We remind both archers, when you hit the red button, after you're done, just step on it again to turn it
confirm
off.
totals?
All right, while they're explaining the rules to, you know, what's going with the archers, let's talk about the fact that Carl Wenk moved Glenn Calley off his spot. He moved him from the number 1 to the number 2 spot. Why are you going to do that, Chris?
You want to get them uncomfortable or get them off of the spot that they just went on, where they're comfortable. They know that their sight's hitting. It's, I guess you could say, a little bit of a mind game, but it shouldn't affect anything because, the lighting's all the same on both targets.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll probably see that on almost every case.
First arrow of our number 3 qualifier shooting up against our number 2 qualifier. The Shelby, Michigan resident.
9.
Shot a 628 out of a possible 660 coming in here, and then had to get through eliminations.
10.
And the eliminations that we went through is pretty much the exact same as what's going on right now. 4 ends of 3 arrows, 20 yards. The only difference is to get here, we didn't have the 12 ring.
Oh, okay. Now for Carl Wenk, he's been Senior Open winner in 2015. He's also been the runner-up twice. This archer familiar with the pressure of being under the lights here.
10.
And the lighting's probably a little bit different out on the stage from the practice range, so that might have been that little bit of right there.
Yeah, the staff did everything they could to try to simulate it, but it's hard when you have a room this big.
Absolutely.
Have you been here before?
Oh, yeah.
What years and when?
Well, I started years ago, but on this format, 2015 was before the TV. I won then, and then I've been up here twice since. Had a couple seconds, so.
Do you ever get used to it?
Not as you get older. It's always exciting to get up here.
Well, run through your equipment for us. Tell us what you shoot.
Well, I got an old Barnsdale bow. I won with this in 2015.
Yes, look at that.
I've cut down some stabilizers I put on it. Sherlock sight, Pro Tuner rest, shoot some Easton 25-12s with 100 grain knockbuster tips and boning veins on them. So.
Gotcha. All right, well, welcome back to the Lancaster Archery Classic stage. Let's get our scores here. After the first end, Glenn Talley 31, Carl Wenk 29.
Greg White, Chris Schaff bringing you the action in the Senior Open 60-plus category here at the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic. We just heard from Carl Wenk about his equipment. Chris, is there a bow you have or have had that you think about often? Because being a professional archer that you are, you're required, obviously, to shoot what's being sold currently. So if a bow goes out of rotation, that's it for you. You can't pick it up and shoot it. Have you ever thought at times, boy, I wish I could shoot that old bow somewhere in the closet?
No, not really. The companies now are coming out with new innovative stuff that just makes it easier on everybody to shoot. It's kind of cool that Carl is shooting a bow that he actually won with in 2015.
Yeah, 8 years ago already, right? Pretty amazing.
11.
It sounds different than a modern day bow, doesn't it?
It does.
It's got a different kind of a release sound to it.
If you look at, his bow, it's still got the solid limbs, where most companies now are coming out with the split limb technology.
There's a crowd on hand in the shadows watching.
11.
The older bow still shoots.
It still shoots.
Still shoots. That's a awesome end. Coming in end 2, being down after the first end.
Yeah, I think there's, there seems to be a couple of different camps in archery. There's people like me who always wants to buy the latest and the greatest, thinking that's going to solve my problems of hitting the middle. And then there's archers like, you take a Sergio Pagni, who he shoots a new and modern bow, but the rest of the stuff he has on there, the sights, the stabilizers, all that stuff. His release
Yep.
hasn't changed forever.
Nope.
And still can absolutely pound the middle of the target. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, once you get comfortable with something, it's hard to, change away from it.
All right, well, we appreciate
And if you're just joining us, Chris Schaff is with me in the booth, and he comes off of the 2023 Nîmes Championship. He also won that in 2018, Indoor-Outdoor World Cup champion, second in Vegas a couple times, NFA Indoor Nats champ. I mean, resume is long and distinguished, but boy, you just have had a resurgence, haven't you, in 2023? You seem reinvigorated.
Yeah. I gotta really give a shout out to Brady Ellison. He actually moved up to Billings where I'm at, built an awesome house where he's got a range, and I've been shooting more arrows there this year than I have in a long time.
Yeah, it's always good to have someone to help you motivate, especially a really nice place to shoot. Senior Open 60-plus category. We're shooting for third place, so this is guaranteed podium. But the question is, who's going to win this match and then shoot for the #1 spot as they will run into the next archer, who's their #1 qualifier.
And that's 4 in a row there for Carl. So
He's starting to find his rhythm up on the stage.
That first 10, probably a little bit of nerves coming up, and then now he's calmed down.
It's funny, though, because Talley was moved off of the #1 spot into the #2 spot. Now we see everything kind of drift into the right for him.
I do see that. Oh, he hit the 12 button.
All right, so we're going for that 1.5 centimeter dot.
Definitely the risk reward right here.
Yeah. All right.
But it's still, the same distance right as his other 2 arrows.
Yeah.
So that's got to be, a good feeling for Carl there. He did just give up a few more points that if their 12 ring wasn't there, he maybe gave up 1 point, got it, gave up 2 points, but there, he gave up 4 points.
Yeah. Now you can do that once per end. I remember last year when we came up with the light calling, the 12 ring, that Dave Cousins got up there and hit it.
Very first arrow.
Very first arrow, and then turned it off.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
I mean, it's a good strategy if you hit it.
Just go for it
just
straight away.
Come out swinging.
Especially if you're someone that has see, the thing is, if you're an archer that has a tendency to maybe drop your bow arm a little bit when you're nervous and maybe drop them out of the bottom, that's what I like about the 12 ring, is it's not that close to like the bottom of the 10 ring or the bottom of the 9 ring.
Yeah, you have to aim at it.
You
You
have
can't
to,
luck
yeah.
into it.
Yeah, it'd be such a brutal shot if you lucked into it. And that's also why you're going to call it.
No, he calls it again. First arrow here. So if he hits this, it'll probably change the momentum of this match a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. He did not call that one. That wasn't like he was trying to go for it, so that was just a little miscue. Something we often see at this age category without question, especially on the longer holds. There's a reason, I think, if you look at archery and you have categories of a bunch of different categories from the youth side of things, and then you get into this adult category where you're like, say, 21 to 49, and then after that, a lot of organizations have 50 to 60, 60 to 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 77, because your performance can vary so much in those 10 years as you get older from experience.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people, in the open pro class that are getting, older. They're more excited to go into the senior pro class, because, it's hard competing with the young guns, I guess.
Yep.
So there we have Carl winning the second match here, so Glenn will take third place.
Congratulations to Glenn. Great shooting from third to third. No, both Glenn Talley and Carl shot the same amount of points, 880 points total, 924 to get in here. So we take our 660 round and then all the elimination rounds, add up those points. The difference from second to third was the amount of 11 shot. Talley had shot 48 of those 11s to get here, and Carl Wenk had shot 50. So now we move on. As these arrows are going to get scored, our shoot up for the Senior Open 60-plus category at the largest indoor archery tournament here on the East Coast in the United States. as we'll now shoot for who is going to be able to stand on top of the podium and take the prize.
Yeah, you see Carl actually already standing off the platform, expecting he's going to get moved over here.
Score is confirmed. Carl Wenk, 120. Glenn Talley, 111. Glenn, you're walking out of here third place, $1,000.
Thank you
Thanks
so
very
much.
much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming, Glenn.
Outstanding performance from Glenn.
All right, let's bring out our #1 seed in Senior Open, Kurt Naistetler from Logan, Ohio. It looks like Kurt also was our first place finisher in qualifications. At the Classic, every arrow counts, so you can be the first place after qualifications and not come in here as the #1 seed. But it looks like Kurt did that.
I'm a huge fan of that, Chris. The fact that every arrow you shoot here makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an awesome qualification round, and then when it gets to the head-to-head matches, you know, if you have a few, you know, bad ends or bad matches, but still move on, you know, that the total arrows added up together are going to determine where you come in at. You know, so qualification really doesn't mean everything here.
So we're down to the final two. 114 competitors came out to shoot the Senior Open 60+ category in a record-breaking Lancaster Archery Classic event this year. As people are wanting to get out and use the equipment that they picked up, a lot of people.
That's a good start coming out.
Yeah, and that's what you really want to see, because what is that also telling you about the practice range?
That it's identical in here.
11.
Both of them.
Looked like Carl tried to put a little English on it, but didn't need it.
$10.
A little bit low.
Still not a bad. You know, he's got his sight dialed now. I mean, it looked like it fired a little low for him.
9.
We're looking at, there's Kurt Naistetler, who's a gold medalist in the Senior Games. If you're getting up there close to 50 years old and you don't know what the Senior Games, it's basically all kinds of sporting activities in each state. Almost every state in the United States has it. I mean, we're talking from archery to bowling to cheerleading, and they break it up, you know, into 10-year increments.
11.
And then they have, every 2 years, they have a national championship.
The crazy thing here that I think is Kurt came in actually with less 11s than Carl, but he's still qualified #1 or #1.
Yeah.
Naistetler. Welcome to Lancaster Archery Classic stage. Have you been here before?
No, I've made it to the shoot down a number of times, but never made it to the Final Four.
All right. #1 qualifier. Obviously, you felt pretty good through the weekend.
Yeah, it held on, you know what I mean? There's times it goes bad, but it held on.
Sure. Run through your equipment for us. Tell us what you shoot.
I shoot a PSE, and I shoot a stabilizer from Fairfield Outdoors. Shane Heim, he makes them. The sight CBE release is the stands.
What arrows you got there?
The
PSC.
PSC 26s.
23s or 26s.
26s, yeah.
Gotcha. How does it feel coming out there? This is your first time on the stage. How'd you feel after that first end? Pretty strong.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. Yeah, you just kind of hold everything and keep at it. You know, just like normal, you just got to keep at it.
All right, Kurt, welcome to the stage. Keep it rolling. That was a great end. Kurt Naistetler? Naistetler. I'll get that right eventually. 32, Kurt Wenk, 31.
All right, so Chris, we heard Kurt Naistetler say that he's shooting 26s. For someone who's new to archery, what is he even saying by saying I'm shooting a 26?
So a 26 is 26/64 of an inch on your arrow size. The max diameter is 27/64 for this tournament. You know, there's some tournaments that 23/64 is the biggest. So he's not shooting the biggest arrow he can possibly shoot, but it's a 64th of an inch.
Yeah, and maybe it's just what's shooting best out of his bow.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a different spine than a 27. So, you know, you want to get the spine, which is how much an arrow flexes coming out of the bow, and that helps the arrow react better.
A lot goes into it. And he's shooting the relatively new Super RTX, a bow that came out not too long ago from PSE. The one thing we do find, though, with a lot of these different age groups as you get a little bit older is that a lot of these archers will start to dial back a little bit of the poundage that they shoot. So they could be shooting anything from 60 pounds to 50, 40 something pounds, and that also is going to affect the spine and the point weight that they use as well.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people this weekend actually, and they were saying that they've, had shoulder surgeries, back surgeries, so you shoot whatever is comfortable with you because it's 20 yards.
It's 20 yards.
You don't have to worry about speed, you don't have to worry about wind. It's
Yep.
20 yards.
Oh yeah. When you're outdoors, say you're shooting your world archery stuff, how fast do you want your arrow, like a range of that you want it to go outdoor? Because you have to fight all the elements, the wind and so on. We're talking 270 feet per second, 290 feet per second. Like, what's your range generally?
My bows are usually about 280 feet a second, where, you want to shoot a heavy arrow at a fast speed, because the wind's going to affect the heavier arrows less than a lighter arrow. And, the faster it's out of your bow and into the target, the less wind drag or wind you're going to get.
Yeah, where I know people that shoot indoor arrows that are so heavy that they're literally shooting 210, 220 feet per second out of a compound bow. Obviously, a bare bow is going to be a little bit different, some slower stuff, but it just, as long as it hits, right?
Yeah, as long as it hits, it hits. And even outside, as long as you have an arrow that is set up and shooting very well, you can play the wind then. But indoors, it doesn't matter how fast it is.
Center stage here at the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic Shoot Up Finals. This is for the #1 spot in Senior Open 60+ category. Archers are standing on platforms shooting at 40-centimeter target faces that are 20 yards away. We are winding down the arrows for the 2023 champion. 63, Naistetler, to 57 for Wenk.
And one thing that is different here than some of the other tournaments that I've shot, so you see Kurt is actually leading this match. So he gets to choose if he wants to shoot first or second each end. Where some of the other disciplines of archery, world archery, if you're the trailing archer, you actually shoot first no matter what. So it kind of puts pressure on the person that's beating you.
I like that. It affects the game a little bit more.
Yes.
You actually can have an influence, or hope that you have an influence on the match outcome if you are leading the way.
Yeah, they know they have to do what you did or better.
Carl Wenk trying to come back here. He doesn't want to be runner-up for a third time in this tournament, but right now, Kurt Naistetler is having his way.
And what's cool is Kurt has never made the Final Four here. He's made the elimination matches out in the normal room, but he's never made this, and he's putting on a show for sure.
Yeah, and the senior games, which he gold medaled in, that's a 50-meter shoot. So this is a little something different for Naistetler on the indoor side of things. A good look at different vane choices. People still using feathers and not always plastic. Do you have a preference, feather, plastic?
Yeah, I think it all depends on your setup, because if you get with the bigger arrows, you have your cable slide, your cables that could get in the way. So if you are getting a little bit of vane contact on things like that or on your shelf, you'll want to run feathers just because it affects everything less. If you hit a plastic vane off your shelf, it's going to affect the arrow. But I use plastic.
Out of the Carpenters Union out of Columbus, Ohio.
Gotcha. How long did you do that for?
35 years.
Longer than you shot archery, or did you start archery before that?
Started archery a little bit before that, yeah.
All right. We are, after 3 ends, we have Kurt 31, Carl 29. Hit that 12 button there, Carl.
BJ trying to influence a little 12-button action.
Well, there's one end to go, so
Yeah, risk reward.
It needs to happen, I believe.
number 1 seed, trying to close this one out.
And Kurt will just stay shooting at that middle there. I mean, he's got a lead, so there's no need for him to risk anything.
Kurt's got a good shot, too. It's a really good-looking shot. He didn't call for the 12.
You see, a lot of his arrows have been drifting low this match. Maybe nerves are holding down there.
11.
Yeah, you could see that late, kind of late in the holding cycle. He just had that adjustment left, right.
And this arrow will probably seal the deal here.
Kurt Naistetler going for the ball. Great arrow.
Good arrow to finish on.
11.
Good finish for Carl Wenk. And another second place finish for Carl. His third at the Lancaster Archery Classic.
It's still awesome shooting. I mean, to be up on the stage and be a runner-up for 3 years now, you can't be upset with second place finishes for 3 years.
All right. Kurt Naistetler takes that one 126 to 114. Carl is walking out of here second place, $1,500. Give it up for Carl Wenk.
Thanks. That's almost what my same check when I won it in 2015, so. And thanks to Lancaster for hosting this and all the people that work out here, so.
Appreciate you, Carl. You betcha. All right, Kurt Naistetler is our champion. And first place payout is $3,000. Kurt, congratulations. How's that feel?
That feels great. That feels great. First time I made enough money that it paid for my trip.
Paid for your trip, so now you know you can come back next year, right?
Well, I always say if you can shoot for free, that's the best way. If you
That's the best way.
If you get your entry fee paid, they're ready to go.
Now, when you go back home to the home club, you're going to be the guy to beat now, right?
Oh, this boy right here, he's one to watch. I tell you, Mason, he's coming for me. He's already up and coming.
Your grandson?
No, good friend.
Good friend, gotcha.
I shot a lot with his dad.
All right. Well, Kurt Naistetler, Senior Open Champ 2023, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to hear that the archers that have been around this sport for a long time, that, this is what happens. The more people participate, the more the prize pool opens up, and it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good comment there. I mean, he took second place and won the same thing as when he won it.
So that'll do it for our first match here at the 2023 Lancaster Archery Classic. Senior Open 60+, we've crowned a champion, and we can't wait till they return next year.